Penguin Random House Audio presents Dare I Say It, Everything I Wish I'd Known About Menopause. Written and read by Naomi Watts. Foreword by Mary Claire Haver, MD. Read by Alison Ryan. This is the author, Naomi Watts. For the generations of women who've suffered in silence, and for the next generations, may they suffer no more.
Foreword by Mary Claire Haver, MD. I first met Naomi Watts when I was invited as a medical expert to collaborate on the launch of Stripes Beauty, her company offering products and education to support women during menopause. At the time, I had been exclusively treating menopausal patients out of my own clinic for about 18 months. I'd become aware that women were increasingly seeking out self-care treatments to address the distinct changes they were noticing in their bodies. I had always admired Naomi's work as an actor, and I was intrigued by her idea to help address the needs of her contemporaries. And now I am honored to introduce you to her marvelous and important book. In person, I found her to be wonderfully open to sharing her own story of early menopause and fertility challenges. These experiences fueled her desire to build a community so that other women need not be blindsided by such experiences. She believes, as do I, that we shouldn't be left helpless in dealing with the challenges of the menopausal transition. I've always appreciated the fact that she wasn't interested in selling menopause cures, which don't exist, and instead was focused on conveying whatever information she's found useful herself and compassionately supporting other women. When, in 2022, Naomi began collaborating on menopause symposiums with The Swell, a midlife community designed to help women reimagine how they age, I was thrilled to connect in person with an eager and interested audience of menopausal women. These gatherings also helped me learn a tremendous amount about myself, granted me access to advancements in science and menopause care, and led me to a tribe of like-minded physicians, now known as the Menopause, who are revolutionizing how we treat, study, and conceptualize menopause. The movement to overhaul menopause gained momentum thanks in large part to women like Naomi, who were brave enough to stand up and say, "I'm no longer going to be silent about my experience." For her, speaking out as a famous Hollywood actress had the additional risk of being ostracized by the entertainment industry, a space that routinely shelves women who are open about the complexities of aging while female. But it had the additional benefit for us of using her glamour to help remove the stigma around menopause, and even making it seem cool. For many women, the menopausal transition and menopause itself bring about unexpected changes to everything from skin tone and hair quality, to sexual health, to matters of mood and memory. What the woman in mid and mid-ish life needs when facing these issues is support, which may come in the form of a doctor who finally listens, or a friend who's going through the same thing. By being honest about her own and her friends' experiences in dealing with the shock of menopause, Naomi offers validation to other women and makes them feel less alone. But she goes even further in her effort to help. For Dare I Say It, Naomi consulted a number of the top menopause experts in the country. Their clinical perspectives smartly support the lived experiences of women in the menopausal transition and provide practical advice, too. For years, Naomi has been sharing her story and her knowledge in symposia and among peers. With Dare I Say It, her bravery, honesty, and humor will provide much-needed solace and encouragement to an even wider circle. I applaud Naomi dedicating these pages to such a candid telling of her own experience and to sharing so much profound wisdom and useful guidance. This is a great gift to the community of menopause education.
Introduction. What is menopause? Looks like you're close to menopause, my doctor told me when I was 36 and wondering why I was having so much trouble getting pregnant. I almost fell off the examination table. "What do you mean?" I said, gasping for air. "Close to menopause? That's for grandmothers. I'm not even a mother yet, and by the way, that's what I'm here for, to become a mother. Take it back." I was trying to joke, but really I was begging him to make it not be true. I was so scared that this would be the end of my dream to bear children. As I sat there, stunned and full of self-recrimination, I remembered that my mother had once mentioned she'd hit menopause at 45. But 45 still felt very far away from 36. And frankly, I didn't even really know what menopause meant, except very likely the conclusion of my acting career, which got underway far later than most. When I'd hit my early 30s, people had started telling me that the time would soon come when I wouldn't be able to play a leading lady anymore. Was this the end that had been foretold? I begged the doctor for more information. He explained that technically menopause is a single day, when you've gone 1 full year since your last period. This happens on average at the age of 51, and for years leading up to menopause, in the phase now known as perimenopause, you can experience a host of symptoms connected with declining estrogen: night sweats, unpredictable periods, mood swings, and weight gain being among the most common. Shout out to the relatively recent rise in the use of the term perimenopause, which, according to the OED, entered the lexicon in the early 1930s. Menopause was named way back in 1821 by a French doctor named Charles Pierre Louis de Gardin. It was about time for an expansion of our vocabulary. I'd been having night sweats for a while, but no doctors, and I'd seen plenty of doctors, because you have to get a physical exam every time you start a new film, had ever made much of them. You know when you go to a doctor's office and you get the lists with 100 questions? I ticked night sweats every time for years. Each time they were chalked up to stress or premenstrual syndrome or an allergic reaction to something I ate or drank, maybe sulfites in wine. And I accepted those explanations. I was often tired or stressed out from demanding shooting schedules or international travel for press junkets. In my mid-30s, my periods started coming close together, sometimes every 15 to 18 days. I thought that seemed weird. Still, it never occurred to me that it had anything to do with menopause. But now, sitting there in the doctor's office, I was learning that my irregular periods and night sweats had actually been perimenopausal symptoms, and their cause was not the stress of my overnight shooting schedule or an extra glass of wine with dinner. The news sank in as I walked out. My periods would be stopping soon, and with them would go any hope of pregnancy. I imagined calling my mother. I'd begin the conversation in a sensitive, loving way, full of warmth and compassion for what she'd endured as a woman of her generation. What the hell, Mum? Why hadn't she told me more about this inevitable transition? Eventually, I did get the chance to ask her about how it had been for her. My periods fizzled out, she said. I was emotionally up and down for a long time, had a few years of symptoms, but after 45, the periods were all gone, and that was that. I expressed shock that I'd gotten so far in life without knowing about any of that. I guess these were the conversations I didn't have with you because my mother never had them with me, she said. How absurd that something so common should be so taboo. And why had I, a relatively worldly person who'd been going to my annual exams and hanging out with the most wonderfully open and fiercely intelligent women my whole life, never once heard, "Heads up, here are the details about this thing that's going to happen to you at some point in the coming years and what it might be like"? Could it be that one reason for the silence around menopause is that women feel like things are just supposed to hurt? Dr. Sharon Malone, a DC-based OBGYN, Chief Medical Officer at Alloy Women's Health, and one of the leading menopause practitioners.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?